Ladies and gentlemen, we are back. Welcome back to Kings of the Sport podcast, episode 8. As always, I'm your host, Darren Williams Jr., and joining me, the West Texas hustler, Michael Anderson. How's it going, Michael?
Man, it's going good, man. Just been sitting around getting a few things done, getting caught up from coming back from the races, coming back from Costa Rica. I think all in 1 week I was on the West Coast, the East Coast, and then in South America or wherever the hell Central South America, all in the same week. So getting it all back together, trying to get a game plan on moving into these next races.
So you're on vacation. Tell me about it. That sounds cool. Costa Rica. I like it.
Yeah, man. We go down there a few times a year. Love it down there. It's just a great place to go. It was Brandon Cole, my son's spring break, so we took off down there and hung out in 90-degree weather and got back to Dallas and it was 38 degrees. I was wearing shorts and flip flops, man. It was crazy.
Well, it is episode 8 of the Kings of the Sport podcast. Michael, we got 3 special guests joining us here tonight. Tell us what we got on the show here tonight, Michael.
Man, so we've got our guy, second time to be on the show, Shawn Van Horn. Just got his Top Fuel license, broke out his new fuel car at the March meet. Super excited about that deal, man. He went out a few times before trying to get the car broken in, and then get back right with what was going on with the car. It's been a few years since he'd been in one. And then shows up at the March meet, uses the test and tune and the qualifiers, man, to finish getting his license, which is, we got another dude racing, Top Fuel with us, and had a hell of a March meet, man. If there was something that could go on, it was going on with him. And he was a human highlight video for damn sure. And super excited for him. Congratulations, and I'm glad he's with us. Great dude. Owns Titan Speed Engineering. We'll talk to him here in a little while. And then we got Dan Horan. Been around the sport for I don't know, since forever. With his dad. What is he? Second, third generation, or and then he's got his sons. Third and fourth generation racer. So just a legacy within the whole racing community, and races Top Fuel and funny car. But he let his son run. 18-year-old son Ryan run the funny car at the March meet. Did a hell of a job. We talked about that on the last episode. Yeah. And then we got Bobby Cottrell, right? We're going to
Cottrell.
Yeah. Cottrell. Yeah, he's down south down here we just say Cottrell. And hell, I know his uncles and everything too. That's what they probably told me that 2 or 3 times. And we just skip all the rest of it. But yeah, great. This should be a great show, man. Lot to talk about. We're gonna try to move through it pretty quick.
Yeah, for sure. Like you said, first guest will be Dan Horan. So run a show for everybody. Dan Horan will be up first. Funny car and Top Fuel champion. Hasn't just won. He's won championships in both categories. So excited to talk to him. Like you said, legacy as far as his dad himself, now his son jumping in a nitro funny car. Really excited to talk to him. Then also Bobby Cottrell, the five-time NHRA Heritage Series funny car champion. And not only is he a 5-time champion now, he's now a 5-time March meet winner in nitro funny car. So talk to him about that. And then the newly licensed Top Fuel driver, Shawn Van Horn, got a lot to talk to him about that. Like I said, licensing was crazy for him out of Bakersford. So we're going to break all that down in just a little bit. Thank you guys all for tuning in to episode 8 of the Kings of the Sport podcast. If you haven't already, make sure to like and share this show. Let everybody know we're talking everything frontage and Top Fuel, nitro funny car, and all the good stuff from the NHRA Heritage Series. So we have a comment here from my buddy, Drag Racing Central. He says, when's the next Heritage Series race? So technically, the next race is Bowling Green, the Holly Hot Rod reunion in Bowling Green. But for the Top Fuel guys, Michael, cool April Nights in Redding, California, and also Bandimere Speedway in a few months.
Right. Yeah. So, the next Top Fuel race, and I think it's kind of a, competition. They're going to have like fuel cars racing funny cars. I think they're trying to get 8 fuel cars and 8 funny cars to run each other, put on a good show, make for some good racing. That's going to be cool April Nights in Redding. Should be a hell of a damn race. I think last year, whenever they did it, Hall and goddamn, there was, I don't know, 5 or 6. Speed Shop went. WW2 car went. There was a pretty good chunk of cars there, and they put on a hell of a show. But then the next really, big non-exhibition race which is going to start the Extreme Top Fuel Series. Is going to be May 20th at Vandermeer, and man, it's looking like it's going to be a hell of a good show up, man. Well, I'll probably have the list, within the next 3 or 4 weeks where everybody's kind of locking in. But it's going to be a good show of some West Coast cars, a good show of the back East cars, the Midwest deal. So that whole thing's about to happen. Like it ought to be a good deal. And then we're going to be racing at like 9,000 feet. So nobody ever tunes their car for that. So it should just be a whole exciting time. And Vandermeer, man, Sporty Vandermeer, Kevin Rowe over there, they have been just absolutely killer on putting this thing together. We should have some good promotional videos coming out pretty soon, to talk about that and a whole lot more information. So yeah, going to be a big race. It's good. The last time I went, man, it was killer, and it was just me and Hilton out there, kind of doing a little match racing deal, and it was, freaking people everywhere. So it ought to be a good time. I'm looking forward to that. And then, June, Father's Day weekend will be Bowling Green. And, so that'll bring the Heritage Series back there. So instead of having that big, long run between, the March meet and the Holly Hot Rod reunion, we got a lot of racing in between. So, that hasn't happened in a long time. So it's exciting. And I'm glad the tracks are giving these opportunities to be able to do that.
And I'm sure, like you mentioned, like the long gap between the March meet and Bowling Green for you top fuel drivers, it kind of, having that long break, I'm sure it's hard to kind of stay in kind of like a momentum as far as getting behind the wheel of a driver in the driver's seat, and really, getting that momentum and, getting those reps and everything like that. So I'm sure for the drivers, you guys are happy that there's more races, to go to in between now.
Yeah. It's, and all of us guys talk about that pretty regular. I mean, if you raced the whole Heritage Series, you're going to race 6 races. You stay pretty busy, from June till October. There's some few breaks in there. If the guys that just race on the extreme side, you're going to race 3 or 4 races in a year, and it's a short window for those guys just because of the weather that the Midwest guys race out of. I mean, it's still 30 degrees and snowing and ice, and I mean, I don't. It's fun talking with them, and then they, I'm down here bitching about, it's 50 degrees today, and they're like, God dang, dude, it was -7 today, stuff like that. So excited for those guys. Hope, it's all about this weather. This weather's been crazy. So, I mean, we just kind of got to ride that out. And then you got Funny Car Chaos this weekend in Ennis. They're racing. What, 50 or 55 funny cars are going to be there. My dudes, man, the TDRA, the guys that I started with, they're all going to be racing out there. I actually got my red alcohol car fired up. I hadn't fired it up in a few years, and me and James got it all done. So we might run over there this weekend and, just get some seat time, go hang out with buddies. All you got to do is put fuel in that car. You ain't got to do anything else. I won't even know what to do. I'll just be sitting there like, what, are we going to work on something? So excited for all those guys. I know they got postponed. I'm sure Monday Morning Racers talked about that a little bit. And, that weather was horrible, man. Like they had like tornado warnings and all kinds. I was in Costa Rica hanging out, so it didn't matter. But, and then hell, we left Costa Rica. They had a 5.8 earthquake there.
Oh, really?
Yeah, right by where the house is at, man. Like it was crazy. Yeah. Wow. So, anyways, a lot of stuff going on. It's kicking off. I mean, everybody ought to be getting their stuff fired up.
Yeah, like you said, Funny Car Chaos this weekend at the Texas Motorplex in Ennis. Monday Morning Racer will be there. I'm actually filling in for him tomorrow on his show Between the Slicks. So tune in. We have Lyle Greenberg will actually be the guest. He won Nitro Pro Comp out the March meet last year and is your defending Funny Car Classic champion from the Texas Motorplex. So tune in tomorrow night. We will have Lyle Greenberg, your Nitro Pro Comp winner at the March meet. And so let's go back to Top Fuel a little bit. Well, actually, before we do that, though, so we're mentioning funny cars and all this stuff. We all love funny cars, too. Legends Nitro Funny Cars will be at Pomona next weekend. First race for that. Well, technically second race now, but first race on the big show for those guys. You got Billy Morris in the comments here. He says, Funny Cars in Pomona next weekend. So excited about that deal. I'll be in Pomona, as you guys all know, from Southern California. So really excited about that. But as far as the Top Field deal, like you mentioned, Denver and then Bowling Green, can you kind of give us an idea kind of car counts for both those races?
So, when we set up the Denver race, it was kind of a new thing, for us, and then even Vandermeer. And so, we were like, hey, let's put together an 8-car field, kind of deal, and most of the time there's 10 to 12 cars. Man, I wouldn't. I mean, we're right there at that 16-car deal again. Like it's crazy. So I would figure, there's going to be between 14, 15 cars there, and if some guys just, kind of decide to go, it could fill up. I mean, the track we've made, discussions about, hey, if it does end up happening, it's just going to be a big race, a big 2-day race. But all in all, man, it's just we just want to go and put on a good show for one, the fans, and then two, the track, and show that this can happen, because they're wanting to grow. They're wanting to grow this race into some other stuff, but it's all stepping stones, man. It's you're stepping off into a whole nother ball of wax whenever you go up there, and it's been fun talking with all the guys, man. They're all excited. Everybody's kind of been pinned up and ready to get their cars out. So they're putting stuff out on social media, showing their cars, where they're at, and so we're gonna be lighting it up, man. It's gonna be fun. I'm excited.
Awesome. Well, I'm gonna have to play the fax machine for this one, so let's get the sound out. Got to bring the fax machine. Got to bring here we go. The famous fax machine.
All right.
So we always talk about the dump truck motor, but for you, that actually might be going away. Correct? Tell us behind the scenes of what's going on with you and your program.
Man, so I've run that, and I guess I need to go there. I love that motor. Like I really love it. It's been a great deal, a great learning tool to get involved in this racing. But whenever you race with these guys, and I've had a lot of discussions with these guys, whenever you race with this group of racers, and you want to be competitive, and you want to be able to go out and run 560s, 570s, 580s, on a regular, it's just not a proven deal with the Chevrolet. I mean, it really isn't. I did it initially because that's what I felt comfortable with. Like I knew that motor. So I hadn't worked on a whole lot of Hemis. Now that I've kind of gotten a little further into this deal, and seen what's what. So yeah, man, I ran up to Tulsa, Oklahoma, and my good buddy Paul Schultz of the Spirit of Tulsa car. That's also he travels with me on our team. I was driving home from the March meet, man. Just the wheels were turning, and I was like, I think it's just time to make it happen. And made a few phone calls, and yeah, we went ahead and bought a 417 Donovan, and I got parts out the yin yang. That's what I was down there going through, and we're going to hopefully. I mean, I'm feeling pretty good. We'll showcase it at Denver. We'll have it ready, and it'll be in there thumping around, and just excited, with what's going on. And man, I can't. All the guys, just talking with them, and hey, point them in the right direction about stuff. And I can't talk enough about, Jim Young, coming in there and helping me with, hey, this is where we need to be to for you to be competitive in this deal. And so, yeah, and Brian Hall, man, they're all, Van Horn. I mean, all the dudes are always like this. You got to do it. You're going to do it. And then finally, whenever I pulled the trigger, they were like, whoa, So yeah, I'm excited to, the dump truck motor deal was fun, and it was a good conversational piece. But I'll have my red car if I want to go run around in a dump truck motor.
Well, you mentioned Jim Young and Brian Hall. This class is so competitive, it's cutthroat, and people, there's some trash talking within the class, but then also I love the camaraderie within the class also. But I got to ask you though, Michael, will that motor still sitting right in front of you, you won't be able to see when you go down the racetrack? Because that's the one thing I love about your race car is that you cannot see when you go down that quarter mile.
No, it's still gonna be the same. It ain't gonna. You can't fix that in that car. We set that car up for a specific look, and it will stay that way. I really, it's been pretty amazing. I don't feel uncomfortable driving the car, but it's really fun to talk to people, like whenever they look at it and they're like, what are you looking at? And I'm like, well, if I get really close to the wall, I'll move this way. If I get close to the city, you move this way, Well, you're going so fast. I was like, well, you don't really think about it. You just got to do it. But yeah, man, but we're going to stick a big old fat Hemi in there, and see if we can't make it run. I'm excited. It doesn't take much for me to get excited, but it's pretty fun with the guys, and I think they're really the biggest thing for them was as they seen we're putting a lot of work and effort into this, and that was another thing with my crew. I was like, man, we're working our butts off out here, and you guys aren't seeing any fruits of your labor because we're just it's just a fast ass class. That's all there is to it. And so, anyways, we made the choice. It's good. I'm happy with it. We'll move forward, and hopefully it works out. If not, I'll put that Chevrolet back in the son of a bitch, and we'll be all right.
That's awesome, Michael. And I'm really looking forward to seeing you debut that out at Bandamere. So, any more news before we move on?
Just you put the deal out there with Kyle Huff's granddad and everything. Yeah. Man, I love that Super Shops altered with the U.S. Army. That I saw that picture. I was like that's and the press box in the back and all that. The announcer, dude, that's a killer picture, man. And we're thinking about you, bud. We'll definitely be calling to talk to you pretty soon. But I'm pretty sure he's probably about ready to just go out there and get some racing done and for his granddad and everything else.
Yeah, rest in peace to the legendary Dave Huff, driver of the Nanook Fuel Altered. Our condolences to the whole Huff family, a legend within the sport. And you talk about that picture I showed with Don Perdome and the other lane in the army car, at Orange County, just an iconic photo. And so just want to give a shout out and the condolences to the Huff family. We are thinking about you, man. And so before we move on, though, so not a video this time for our throwback segment of the week, but obviously the March meet is over, but you can never stop talking about the March meet.
No.
We're going to 2009. We're going back to 2009 and the final round. The two best cars of the weekend, Rick White and Brett Harris, they met in the final round. And what a great final round this was. This was around 6:30 in the afternoon out at Bakersfield, about I guess you could say 14 years ago in the final round. A great drag race. And what's cool about this is at the time, it was the quickest side-by-side race in front engine top fuel history at the time. Brett Harris got the win. 567 with the 4 at 263 to defeat Rick White's 568 with the 4 at 259 as Brett Harris got the win, your 2009 March Meet champion in front engine top fuel eliminator. Michael, some history right there, man.
Yeah, and that's a really cool car too because one, it's red, and I love red. But cool. You go back and watch. I think you can go. I think 2009. Is maybe the first Mayhew. There's some video out there of that race, and you go watch it. And, it's kind of 2009 was like that transition year, with your Apple phone. That was like the year that all that stuff came out. So there's a bunch of people out there with a flip phone taking videos and stuff that put it out on YouTube. But yeah, there's some cool stuff out there. But think about 2009, and they're running 560s, man, 568. 250 something miles an hour. I mean. It's just hauling the mail. I don't give a shit. I mean, it's awesome. And then, those dudes, they're still around. They come out to the races and stuff like that. You get to see them, and it's cool, man. They always got a good story to talk about.
Yeah, for sure. And so we're about to get on our first guest, Dan Horan, in just a little bit. But I want to backtrack to a couple weeks ago. I said something on the show and kind of speaking out of turn, I guess. So I basically was saying how obviously when, the top fuel cars didn't run that Monday at the March meet, I came on the show and said, hey, they're going to make it up at Bowling Green. Well, obviously that was a typo at first. And then I said, well, I would like to see them run at Bowling Green because in terms of the championship, kind of give a clear picture. But then, I started talking to the people and, a March meet victory is, I think, the main thing that you want to win as far as, the championship is important. Not saying it's not, any championship is important, but a March meet win is right up there with it. And so I kind of spoke out of turn. A lot of the drivers in the class don't really race for a championship. So just wanted to backtrack on that just a little bit and kind of clear that up a little bit. So just wanted to go there.
Oh, it's kind of one of them things. You got the California Hot Rod Reunion, you got the Holly Hot Rod Reunion. It's not hard to put something in there that's like that. Which whenever you said that, I don't even think most of the guys knew. Like I didn't know, and I started talking to the guys. I was like, did y'all know that? They were like, where was it at? So I had to actually look it up. But yeah, so and we can beat that dead horse. But I'll always go back to is. 5 or 6 of the guys that are qualified for that race wouldn't be going to Bowling Green.
Yeah.
So you really wouldn't have that same race. But hey, it is what it is. The California Hot Rod Reunion is going to be one hell of a race.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I mean, that is going to be because you're just not going to be able to go out there in qualifying and just do whatever you want. I mean, you're racing, so
Yeah.
I mean that's going to be crazy to just step off the trailer and be like, let's make this car go, baby.
It's always cool to have a race within qualifying too. I know it makes it a lot more harder, but that's kind of cool. It adds like a different dynamic to it and everything like that. But Michael, hey, we got to move on.
I got you.
Our first guest, Dan Horan, is next.
If you own a beautiful modern muscle car like this 1320 Challenger, I'm sure you don't want it stolen. Because the Challenger and many other modern vehicles have an easily accessible neutral release strap. That was your coin holder in your center console, and beneath that there's this red cord that someone can pop, put it into neutral, and potentially easily steal your car. But at Destroyer1320.com, they have the TDS, Theft Deterrent System, which is a cover over that strap using factory mounting points so that you don't get popped by a thief. So make sure to go to Destroyer1320.com using promo code MMR for 15% off and get your Theft Deterrent System, TDS, and steal the thieves' hope.
Man, Michael, isn't that just a beautiful top field dragster right there? That American flag, that is a beautiful car right there, Michael.
Yeah, I mean, it's a killer ride. Not only does it look good, but it hauls ass. So I mean, you just can't go wrong with it all the way around. And it's always fun to watch what goes on with that ride. I guess we've been watching it 3, 4, 5 years now, and I mean, it's a hard one to beat right there. That car, it moves on for sure. But it's a good group of people there between Dan there and Pete Kaiser and all that. He's put together one hell of a group of people to make that car get on down the road.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show, Dan Horan Jr. Dan, how's it going, man? Welcome to Kings of the Sport.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me on. One of the things about Dragster that is amazing is Pete Kaiser. Pete Kaiser and the whole Kaiser family, they put their heart and soul into front engine top fuel racing since the early 90s. So my father and I raced in the early 90s against them. We were the killer car from Southern California. They were the killer car from Northern California. After my father passed, I went to Pete Kaiser and I said, I want to do something. And he got me my first 5-second run in my dad's old front engine top fuel car, which hauls ass for Brian Hall right now. It just didn't fit me. And then Pete said, hey, you know what? That car doesn't fit you. If you want to go racing, let's build a car. And here we are 4 years later. Pete Kaiser is without a doubt, probably the best guy that I've ever raced with in my whole entire life. I've raced with some fantastic NHRA champions. Dale Paldy taught me how to drive a funny car. Who can say Dale Paldy taught you how to drive a funny car? Dale Paldy went with me when I was learning to drive my funny car, and he said, Dan, if you don't steer it, I'm going to stop coming out with you. Steer it. So you get driving those long cars and you don't steer them. You get in a funny car and you don't steer it. So Dale Paldy, shout out to him. Him and I have been through ups and downs over the years, but at the end of the day, he's a legend, and I thank him very much for helping me learn how to drive a fuel funny car. Put my first fuel funny car together in 1990. Ron Tobler. That's Caps' ex-crew chief. That's Force's ex-crew chief last year. He put my first fuel funny car together. So I've had some great guys that I've raced with, and I still say Pete Kaiser is the baddest of them all. He puts his soul into it. That car doesn't want for anything. I say, Pete, I'm a little short on money. Don't worry about it. We got it. I bought the heads. Then all of a sudden, I'm like, Pete, we can't buy the heads. Nope, we got them. So whatever we need, that car has. And Pete Kaiser is 100% committed. If we're racing front engine top fuel with the AAFD group, if we're racing with Jimmy Young and his team and his group, which is a fantastic group of people, or if we're racing these Heritage Nitro funny cars with my son, we're there to whoop ass there too. So wherever we show up to win.
Hey, Michael, that's like a mic drop right to start off the interview, right? I mean, mic drop right there. I like it.
Well, I don't know what else to say. Shit, no, I mean, we pretty much covered it all right there. No, I mean, don't sell Dan short in himself too. I mean, he's committed to this racing series, on both ends of it, which is a huge commitment for somebody to do. To bring in one, a fuel funny car, and then two, a top fuel car. And I've been around this group a few times, and been around Kaiser a few times, and man, they're on the top of the list of folks out there, man. And Dan puts on one hell of a party at his pit. I walked over there and I thought I was at a honky tonk there in Texas there for a little while whenever I walked in there. So yeah, great group of dudes. And then, don't sell them short on this, man. I mean, who lets their 18-year-old son jump in a nostalgia top fuel car or a fuel funny car or alcohol car and say, hey boy, go out there and make it happen. So yeah. Hats off to this group.
With Ryan, he looks 18, but he's actually 23. And he fall off the back of a turnip truck. He's a pretty badass driver. He's something special. And I'm not just saying that because he's my kid. He's special. He's the third generation. Every generation's supposed to be better. But he went through Tom Bear's School of Drag Racing out here in Southern California. He cut his teeth. He won 750. Then he went out in August and went through Paul Smith's funny car school in August in Bradenton, Florida. That's not a fun place to race. And it was 100% humidity, 100 degrees. Ryan got his nitro funny car license. We took him to Seattle. He had the third quickest car up in Seattle. He raced the 5-time champion, Bobby Cottrell. I call it Cottrell, but that's because of the hick is Bobby Cottrell. But Bobby is badass. As best as good as they get with Bucky Austin, but Ryan still held his own up there. Went to Vegas. We had an unfortunate incident in Vegas. He didn't qualify. Went to the March meet. Hadn't been in a car since Vegas. Went right out there and hauled the mail. Number 10 qualifier, 255 miles an hour. I couldn't be prouder of my son. But what makes this team work, and you guys are so quiet, but I'm going to do all this whole interview for you. What makes is it's one team. 2 cars, 1 team, 2 great people, and it's not a democracy. It's a dictatorship. It starts times in myself. These cars do not tune by a democracy or by diplomacy. We know how to make these cars run. And when you get with a champion like Kaiser, what do you expect? You expect to go out there and win the 2021 March meet, win the 2021 Heritage Championship, go out and run 5:59 in testing, and then the weather changes in 2022. And, they shorten the field. There's so many great people in AAFD, and there's a couple of turds. So you get a couple of turds, and all of a sudden they spoil the soup. But as long as you look past those turds and you look at the great people, you got a great group of people going out there trying to run a race. And you know what? Anytime we go to a race, I don't care if we're racing go-karts. We're going to go rip your heart out because that's what Kaiser and Horan does. We go to win. We don't go to socialize. You want to socialize? Let's go out on the boat next weekend. We'll drink beer and we'll eat chicken wings. But right now, we're here to kick your ass.
I'm loving the energy right now from Dan Horan Jr. And Dan, I mean, people are here to hear you talk. They're not here to hear us talk. They're here to hear you. So I'm loving what you're bringing right now. But, obviously, you talk about the funny car, and you talk about the top fuel car. You talk about 2021, an amazing year in 2021. Went to every final round that year. Like you said, won the March meet, won Tulsa, booking the season with the California Hot Rod Reunion win. And then 2022, like you mentioned, that D&Q at the March meet. And then I feel like, I feel like your focus was more on the funny car last year. With this year, with Ryan driving the funny car, are you back to focus on racing the top fuel drag here in 2023?
I'm racing the Top Fuel car. I mean, that's because Michael didn't come and buy it. We offered Michael a hell of a deal, $1,000, but I guess it might have been a little bit out of the price gap, but we still have the baddest Top Fuel car. But there are so many great cars. You got Jim Murphy, who is a true legend. Holy smokes, Jim Murphy. You got Bobby McClenathan. You've got so many great people. You got Brian Hall. You've got great people all over. You've got everybody in this AAFD group that is a good guy, except you got a couple of turds. And you'll never get rid of those. You're always going to have two shits in a pile.
God almighty, dude. Darren, I really feel like that Dan has been waiting and waiting and waiting to get on this show. Waiting to just get on the show because he has a lot to say.
He's answered all my questions already. He's answered all my questions.
Is when you talk about, somebody spoiling the soup or something like that. What's interesting is even somebody like that can go in and buy a championship car and run at a championship level. So what can I say? We got a championship car. We got two championships cars. We might have a third one at the end of the year. Hell, who knows what this year's going to bring. But all I can tell you is with Ryan racing next week in Pomona, Horan and Kaiser and our whole entire team with Infinity Plumbing Design of Corona, California, they give us the power to go out there and run with everybody. What can I tell you? We're a great group of people that want to go out there, and we're great guys. We'll give you the shirt off our back on Monday.
Well, I mean, there's no doubt it's a hell of a group of people, man, all the way around. So there's one thing that I want to ask is I haven't really got to talk to you about that. Going back to your dad, where did that racing start? How did in y'all's family did the racing legacy get kicked off?
My father, Southern California, raced in the early '60s, had a hell of a car. He put in injected oils in a B-fuel dragster, then built a front engine, another Top Fuel car with a 354 Ironhead Chrysler, then almost killed himself in that. Then in the '70s, he bought a Don Long car and raced pretty much around Southern California, although he did go back to the Don Garlits National Championship races in 1972, where he had one of the guy that drives my 18-wheeler, AA Bob Ballantyne, was driving the car, lifted the blower, almost killed his silly self. But everybody with our group right now does this for the love of being with our family. And I built that front engine Top Fuel car as a legacy to my late father. And, this next weekend, all I want to do is give praise and thank the Lord Jesus for giving me the opportunity to go to Pomona and watch my son hopefully kick some ass and deliver me a birthday present, because Sunday's my birthday. I'm 50 old to doing this damn stuff anymore. I should be done. Kaiser and I should be going on vacations, drinking beers, and having a good time. But we do that too. We still race.
Well, Michael, remember, so about 20, I think it was like 2020. So what's cool is Ryan's racing this weekend at Pomona, but a couple years ago, Dan ended up in the sand trap upside down at Pomona. So a little bit of,
That's the thing about our car. Okay, that funny car that my boy drives, that is the top speed record holder at 267 miles an hour. And I set that record racing Drew Austin, and they came over and bleep, bleep, bleep on the horn, and all the NHRA guys said, "You went 267." I said, "So what? We lost. Who gives a shit? We lost." Austin won that round, and you know what? Both cars are impeccably prepared. Pete Kaiser lives in Northern California. He comes down for work days in Southern California and beats himself up on this Nitro Funny car. And you know what? This Nitro Funny car is a badass hot rod, let me tell you. And Ryan's just starting to get in a position where he's starting to really shine. And, he's got some heavy hitters. You talk about Billy Morris, you talk about the 5-time champion with Bucky Austin. Those are good people. But you know what? My money's always going to be on my family. My family's Pete Kaiser. My son is Ryan Horan, and we're going on and kick some ass next weekend.
So, Darren, I haven't ever got to tell this story to too many people, but whenever I raced at Boise, it was my first time to go up there with Boise. And I think I was like last pair out, right? Like last pair out we run. And I'm sitting down there in the return lane, and I'm talking to, Hall and some other people, blah, blah. And all, we hear the funny car fire up, and then you hear him coming down the track, right? Like, yeah, boom. And so I'm looking, and you hear, ooh, 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 like you can hear it. And here comes Dan. Like, I'm probably, I don't know, 25 yards from him. Here he comes. The damn chutes didn't open, right? He comes by, cruises through the field, right? Looks like he's dirt tracking it out there, keeps it all straight. Whole funny car's up off the ground, bails out of the funny car, and comes walking across the field. And I don't know, he's probably, 100 yards down there. And it was a hot, miserable son of a gun. I think I went out there about halfway and met him with a bottle of water and said, I think you might need this, bud.
Camaraderie of the sport. But, that funny car, that's not a joke. That's probably the best funny car from half track to the finish line. It picks up 60 miles an hour. When Ryan won that first round pedal fest at the March meet, which it takes a big set of Conans to pedal nitro funny car, keep it straight, and then go ahead and win. And he raced against a great family, the Peck family. We got nothing but respect for the Peck family. But that car picked up almost 70 miles an hour on the second half, the back half of the racetrack. There's nitro funny cars that pick up 60-plus miles an hour on the back half of these racetracks. And, we're pretty damn blessed. This funny car hauls ass on the second half. We're gonna hop it up a little bit on the first half. But at the end of the day, we're talking about dragsters, and we're talking about altereds, and we're talking about everything nitro. And my heart goes out to front engine top fuel racing. So that's where I started. That's where I plan on finishing this little, I don't know if you call it career, hobby, $2 million disaster, whatever you call it after almost 35 years of doing this. But I couldn't be more blessed to be in a front engine top fuel car maintained by Pete Kaiser. That man is a bad hombre. And I said hombre because I'm talking to people from Texas. He's a bad hombre.
So, what's cool too, Darren, and me and Pete, we text back, forth to each other, just, BSing throughout the week and stuff like that. And he sent me like a picture one day of him working on that fuel car. And he's in his garage. He's like in his garage, got it pulled up in there. Like, he's not in some big, gigantic, 10,000 square foot shop. He's making that thing run out of his garage. It's pretty badass.
Both these cars run out of our garages, one in Southern California, one in Northern California. But let's talk about what a champion to front engine top fuel dragsters that Pete Kaiser is. He needed a little extra space to put that car in there. So he went to his wife, Laura, and said, hey, we need to take a chunk of this house. So he did a little remodeling to get that dragster to fit in there. But let's for a second. He went to the California Hot Rod Reunion last year, no points on it. Hadn't been in the seat in 6 years, and went right up to the final, and fell just a little bit short. Like I said, everybody can buy a good car and put them in championship form, and that's what Pete did. But when you get in a seat after 6 years of being there and take it to the final round, that's the son of a gun that's got a lot of heart.
No, there's no doubt, and everybody was super excited for him for sure. To see him come out there, and it's like it's like you. I mean, he's a legacy in the sport, and definitely a legend within itself. And multi-time March meet winners and multi-winning all over the place. And I mean, super cool dude, man, and all the way around for that group. The car just hauls ass. That's all there is to it. Yeah, it just rolls. We give them a lot of shit about it, having a 2-speed in it, but it is what it is.
Oh, here's the thing. That 2-speed does not make or break that car. you just bought yourself a Donovan that's got a 3,900 crankshaft in it if it's a stock stroke 417 motor. That 426 is a 3.75. So when you leave the starting line, you're giving a lot of torque. So that 2-speed doesn't do all that much. That thing just gets it to roll. And once we're 1-to-1, just like the rest of you silly boys are. Away. We take a crankshaft in there and still go kick ass because that's what we kick ass.
Well, you know what's funny, Darren, is, it's so bad. We have like a private page. It's just owners and drivers. There's only like, 25 people on it or so. And the other day I got on there and I had like, hey, we're getting ready for the new combination. And it had like a bell housing and like a Linko whole, had like 7 different pull levers on it and a reverser. I was like, I'm coming for y'all. I'm coming for you with my new transmission, baby.
Fuel pumps, if fuel pumps are the biggest thing. We need to make sure everybody's got the same fuel pump, same blower overdrives on the car, and keep these cars legal. But at the end of the day, it's the heart that you can't buy a man's heart. So when we look at a man's heart, we're going to look at my son, 23-year-old Ryan Horan. He's got heart. He's got the heart of a lion, and he's going to go out there. And as a 3rd-generation racer, that his grandfather used to race Lions drag strip, his mother's father, used to race A-Gas Supercharge and was a legend. He comes from a racing family on both sides. So at the end of the day, my son's got the heart of a champion. Now you put him with Pete Kaiser, that's a multi-time champion, and I faked my way through a couple of championships. There's nothing but good stuff coming in the future for that kid. And like I said, we don't know if we're going to have 1 car, 2 cars. Hell, we might have 3 cars by the end of the year. We just don't know what the hell good Lord's going to give us to do. But whatever it is, we're going to have a good time doing it. And when it's not fun, finito, which is Spanish, we're done.
I'll tell you what, Ryan is definitely, the future of the sport. I talked to him Friday at the March meeting, and he was saying, I'm still, learning, getting behind those funny cars. Like, if I get in trouble, if I have to pedal it, I'm not going to pedal it. Well, what does he do first round? He goes out, pedals it, and he wins the dang thing. So that just goes to show the talent that Ryan has right there. But for you, Dan, I mean, we're talking top field dragster, and Nitro Funny Car. For you, you've won races and championships in both. How much pride in that do you take in that, and being one of the only few drivers in this Heritage Series to win in both Nitro classes? I mean, that's pretty cool.
It's super cool. It's super cool. I never really gave it much thought, honestly. I've aligned myself with some super great people. When I won the championship in Funny Car, I had a great crew chief, Ron Swearingen. And he taught me that it took 3 years to build a championship. And Ronnie Swearingen, God rest his soul, was a legend in this sport, and not in nostalgia. I mean, in big show. So Ronnie Swearingen, he was instrumental in winning the Nitro Funny Car Championship. Pete Kaiser, we wouldn't have won Dick without Pete Kaiser. Pete Kaiser he's the man. And Ryan Horan, what can I tell you? Watch your ass, because he's going to come for all of them. Going to come for the green car, the white car, the orange car, purple car. He's going for you all.
There you go.
I don't know if you feel it or not, Darren, but I really feel like that it's coming. Like that, I feel like the focus is about to be heavily on this 23-year-old boy, and it's like, let's go kick some ass, son. I have that feeling all the time myself. I know where he's coming from with that, and it's a dad will set all his stuff aside if his son just says, I want to go do this.
and I tell you what.
Can't count us older guys out. There's a guys again. He don't have a Nitro Funny Car license yet.
So you
happen with us. All you know is we have one team with 2 great cars right now. Who knows? Next year we might have 2 long cars. you just don't know what the hell the good Lord's going to give us to play with. But at the end of the day, we're going to be a good sport. We're going to be there to race. And we're not the most loved people in the world. And we're not the most political people in the world. But if you want to go against a hardcore group of racers, that's what we bring you.
And that's the way it's supposed to be. And I'll tell you what, I love the energy that you're bringing, but we got Bobby Cottrell in the green room right now, and his face is like, bring it on. His face is like, bring it on. You can tell.
I love it. I love it, man.
Bobby, can't say anything bad about him. 5-time March Meet champion, 5 Heritage Championships. What do you say bad about Bobby Cottrell? He's just a hell of a good guy to hang out with. That whole Austin team, great people, great group of people, and 5-time world champion. But this is 2023. We don't know what you're going to have at the end of the year.
There we go. It's been laid out. There we go. So if you talked about possibly going to Reading to race at Cool Apron Nights, maybe. And then the next race would probably be Bowling Green with both cars, or what?
Well, Pete and I, we talk all the time, and Dave, and these cars run on. I'm a hell of a good looking man, but they don't run on my look. They run on cash green money.
That's it.
We got to figure out what's best for long term. Not Reading. I want to go to Reading. I want to, if there was a race outside my house tonight and it's raining right now and I just shoveled snow up at my vacation house all day today, I'd want to race tonight. In fact, I told Pete Kaiser we were up there getting Andy Carlson from Infinity Plumbing up in Bakersfield last weekend, his Super Comp license, because he's going to make some license runs in this whole piece of trash nitro funny car we have here. So I told Pete, hey, bring that funny car up here. Let's go test. Let's go run this car. And he was down there working. I'm up there playing. But at the end of the day, you just don't know what the future holds. Mm-hmm. And if I was racing us, I'd say, what the hell are those two fellas getting ready to do? That would be the question.
There you go. There you go. Well, final question for me, Dan. Obviously, starting off the season out the March meet, you ran good in qualifying, 584, top half of the field. Just try to, talk about what you think is in store for this season. Obviously, as far as points, Bowling Green's next on the tour, and then, 2 races in 1 out at the California Hot Rod Reunion, March meet, makeup and qualifying, and then elimination on Sunday. So just kind of, tell us how you foresee this 2023 season.
That's the way the AAFD owners voted. That's the way it should have been. Once again, you get 1 or 2 turds that don't want to follow suit. But at the end of the day, you just flush that turd down the toilet and you go with the group. And you're always stronger as a group. Whenever you go with a group, you have bargaining power as a group, and you can do great things as a group. When you step outside a group, you just look like a turd. So
there you go.
As far as racing at the California Hot Rod Reunion and running March meet eliminations during qualifying, hell yeah, let's get it on.
I love it.
Oh, well, I'm hoping to see that, Dan and his group, they try to make, as many races as possible. Like you said, this stuff doesn't run on pixie dust and dreams. But, I feel like that if he wants to make it happen, he'll make it happen. Get out there and see what's going to go on. That car is it's already a proven championship caliber car, and it could go the distance for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
That long car. That long car is the best car in the country. Come on. That long car is the best car in the country.
Give me a year. Give me a year, baby. I'm coming.
But as far as that long car, that's the best car in the country. And when we go to Pomona next weekend, all eyes should be on that Ryan Horan and that Infinity Plumbing and Design car from Corona, California, because I'll tell you right now, my son's going there. He's focused. He's humble. He's polite. He should be an ambassador to the sport. He's nothing like me. He's polite. He's a gentleman. But at the end of the day, he's a champion. He's going to go kick some ass.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
Sure. Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to Legends Nitro Funny Cars out of Pomona next weekend. Like I said, I'll be there. I'm looking forward to seeing how Ryan Horan does. I'm sure he's going to do great. And Dan, thank you for the energy you brought to today's show. I really do appreciate it, man. Any final things you want to say before we get out of here?
I'm just blessed to be here. I appreciate you guys having me on. I've been, I beat Michael up every time I see him. He should have bought that damn red, white, and blue car.
Well, it looks good. Y'all are having fun with it. I like to see it out there racing.
But you didn't buy it, so now you might have to go watch it from behind.
That's all. That's all right. That's all right. It's coming. It's coming, baby.
Get big too, just like the Goodyears. They get big too.
Thanks a lot, bud. We appreciate it.
Guys, thank you so much for having me on. And thank you. Thank you very much.
All right. Thanks, Dan. Thank you for coming on Kings of the Sport, and best of luck to you for the rest of the year, man.
Thank you.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, Dan Horan Jr. How about that, man? Dropping the mic here on Kings of the Sport.
Whenever I first met Dan, we didn't have a whole lot of, communication. One, he didn't know who I was. I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on at the show. But once I started kind of getting involved in this deal and getting around a little bit more, and then me and him started talking, that's the dude I met right there. He was, a very talkative individual, always been cool to me. And, he just rocking it out there. He's got some badass hot rods, man. He's got a good group.
Man, and I love the competitiveness from him and like the trash talking. I mean, that's what just makes drag racing even great. I would just be honest, the turd talk, we don't have to go there, but I love the competitiveness, and I love, the whole family aspect of his team, supporting his son, supporting P. Kaiser. I love the family dynamic of that team. And Dan, I mean, what a talented driver. Nitro Funny Car champion, top field champion, used to drive Big Show Funny Car. So the dude can drive a Nitro car. And, man, he's one of the best out there. So happy to have him on the show. So that was awesome.
And then his dad, Digger Dan Horan. I mean, that's like a killer, like nickname, man, like Digger Dan Horan. I was like, that's it. And then Hall has that car and it's still out there ripping it around.
Yeah, I didn't know that. I didn't know that was the
old
Horan. I didn't know that. Yeah.
Yeah. That's the old Digger Dan car right there, the car's been around for a little while and it's still a contender, man. It's still slinging it out there. And I have a feeling like if that car ever gets retired, I know where it's going. It's probably going to go back, to the original deal and hang up on the wall or something like that. But yeah, great group, man. Great group.
Mm-hmm. So we heard the gauntlet thrown in Nitro Funny Car this weekend. You ready to hear from our five-time NHRA Heritage Series Funny Car champion?
Sure, let's talk with him.
Ladies and gentlemen, Bobby Cottrell is next. Ladies and gentlemen, he's not only a 5-time Nitro Funny Car champion, but he's now a 5-time March Meet champion. Bobby Cottrell, welcome to the show, man. How's it going?
Pretty good, guys. How are you doing?
Doing great, man. So we got to start the show off. You just heard, all the trash talk from Dan Horan. I mean, anything you want to say that got a response to that?
I don't even know how I'm going to compare to his interview. I feel like I'm like an old man compared to that guy. Jesus Christ.
Nah, man. But first off, I want to say congratulations on another March Meet victory. 5th March Meet win of your career, like I just said. Well, technically you have 6 because Dar Harthorn told me you won one in 7-0 Pro, but 5th March Meet win in Nitro Funny Car, tying you with the legendary Big Daddy Don Garland's not a bad name to have your name associated with, I would say.
Yeah, it's still surreal, man. It's, me and Heidi talk about it in the shop all the time, and she's like, "You understand like what we're doing here?" And I'm like, "Yeah." I was like, but at the end of the day, it's I just look to the next race and the next race, the next race. Like I say all the time, it's a testament to my team, man. It's I just get to ride the thing. So, I just can't say enough about the guys and girls that work on the car. Bucky's obviously in the shop every single day working on that thing, trying to make it quicker and faster for me. And, it's a blessing for me to even be able to drive the thing. I mean, it's awesome.
And when we think about your team, we think of like pure domination, right? But the story behind your team that weekend, and I know my man Monday Morning Racer brought it up every time in the pits that day, but a fire on Thursday kind of set you guys back. I mean, you guys were faced with a lot of challenges here in this race. Just kind of fill us in on everything that kind of went on that weekend, and just how much did that fire set you guys back before the race started during testing on Thursday?
Well, we obviously went out there kind of soft, we had a few months off and stuff, but I don't know, man. It was going down there and it went off like a damn bomb about 800 foot. And I mean, we had to completely replumb it, rewire it. I mean, anything that you could have to change, we had to change. So it was a late night, obviously, but we all pulled together, and I think that's, I'm kind of, bragging a lot about my team, but that's where we come together the best, is when adversity is against us. We've been at races where it's 2:00 in the morning and we're still working on the thing, and everybody's in their hotel rooms all nice and cozy and everything else. But, all hats off to them. And I can't obviously couldn't do any of this without them. I mean, it's, having that fire on a Thursday, it burned a lot of stuff. Actually, it even burned holes in the tin work, but, to be able to come back and get our 5th March meet win is just, I mean, who does that? That's awesome,
In a Competition Plus article, he says, "We were zeros on Thursday, but we went from heroes on Sunday." And I thought that was just a great quote. And so, not the fastest car throughout the event as well, but I mean, you guys did step up in that final qualifying session to qualify number 1, but you guys were 3rd quickest of round number 1. You took down Chris Davis. But then let's move on to round number 2, because that's what the highly anticipated round number 2 against you and Drew Austin. So let's set it up right here. It's Bobby Cottrell. It's Drew Austin. It's Bucky Austin versus Pat Austin. It's Orange versus Green. It's the Cobra versus the Beaver. It's Chevy versus Ford. It was crazy. And then the rain comes. How tough was that to have that matchup going and ready to go, and then the rain comes? You got to wait 24 hours later. I mean, come on, man.
Well, that was actually kind of like, it was bullshit, to be honest with you. I mean, from a driver's point, I told Bucky to stop playing with my emotions, but at the end of the day, especially going up against Pat and Drew, you just kind of got to settle yourself down, and it is always a fight with them. It's never, we can never just blow their doors off. I mean, it's always like a neck-to-neck race. I mean, it came down to reaction times and performance. It was an all-out race. It wasn't, I've been in races where it's just like a whole shot win, or a lot of times Drew will tree me, but we'll outperform, through the quarter mile. But that drag race was probably the drag race of the century. I mean, it was, for me, it was a big deal just because obviously Pat and Drew helped me get the job with Bucky. So there was a lot riding on that one, I can tell you that much.
569 to a 570. That was a drag race. Aside from Michael Peck and Ryan Horan in that pedal fest on Saturday night, that matchup right there was badass. And Michael, you were on a starting line right there too to see that race. That was badass.
Dude, I was literally standing 5 foot away from him whenever he took off. Like, there was him and there was me standing right here. And whenever they went down that track, like, everybody's standing there and it's like, boom, the lights come on and it says 69.70 and everybody's like, whoa. I didn't get to talk to you after that, but I was like, I mean, did you know if you won or not, or was it one of those deals like somebody got to tell you at the end?
You know what? It's funny because, after Bucky and Pat, did their deals, on the starting line and stuff. And, I heard Drew rev at me and I'm like, did he just rev at me? So I revved at him and we brought up in the RPMs and we both launched and stuff. But it was close, man. I could hear him like he was on my ass, but I think I pulled on the steering wheel and I was trying to hit the gas pedal harder just to get, that much. And I was trying to scoop myself up to get it to go faster. But it was definitely a good race. It was one of the memorable ones that I've been a part of, and I just couldn't be happier. Obviously, we came out on top, so I don't think any of the fans were disappointed. The ones that stuck around, so it was just a good time, man. It was a good fist fight.
And what you don't, a lot of, the driver doesn't get to see is what everybody does at the starting line whenever it goes down there. And what at the starting line was like the noise that was made. I'm sure it's probably on, I Facebook Live that thing whenever it was going on. And it's not a full stand deal, but right there at that starting line, it's like, oh, this side like, oh, this side like, oh. Then everybody's walking around hitting each other and stuff. It was pretty badass, man, for sure.
It was cool.
Yeah, that's what. Go ahead.
Oh no, you got it, Bobby. You got it.
No, that's the thing. As a driver, you don't get to see, like, a lot of times, like, you'll go to the finish line, especially in a final round, because a lot of people are gone and stuff, and you go to the lights, and a lot of times, you can see your win light come on or whatever. So you're in there celebrating and hooping and hollering and stuff like that. But when you get out of the car, it's like crickets, and it's like, it's kind of weird. But
you gotta wait for everybody to show up. They got to drive a quarter mile to get down there.
Exactly. So I need to watch that video because I never get to see what happens on the starting line. So it'd be kind of cool to watch.
What's cool too is that you left on the kid too in that race. But I got to ask you, so you talk about that. What was kind of like the conversation like at the top end? Was there anything you guys had, to talk about afterwards?
I always take when I know we win, I always take the first turnout because we got to get back there and as fast as we can. So we talked after and stuff. We both gave each other a hug, and Pat gave me a hug and stuff. So it's all in good fun. I mean, I know at the starting line, there's no love lost, to say the least, but at the end of the day, we're they're all family and stuff, and I consider them my family too. So it was just a good deal.
And then in the semifinals, you taking on Tony Gerardo and won another great race right there, 582 to a 578. You win that on a whole shot. You did your job on the starting line. Gerardo was late as well. Only 582 though. First question: are you surprised it only went 82? And then also, were you surprised? The air was so good that weekend. The weather was great. You surprised we didn't see any more low 560s? Maybe somebody dip into the 550s. Was it kind of like the track just wasn't there, or was it more of these guys were just trying to play it safe so you won't hurt a lot of parts, kind of like how we did last year?
Well, there's kind of three things to that. Obviously, the air was. I mean, I think at one point we were like 700 feet below sea level. Mm-hmm. So a big factor in our class is the fuel pumps. So you only have so much wick, and you could only detune them so much until you fall behind. So, with that being said, I think a lot of people were kind of gun shy, or they just burned them up before the finish line. That 582, I think that motor was hurt early on. That was actually the original motor that we had. No, it was the one after that. But anyways, it hurt itself pretty early on, and I kind of felt it, but I was ahead, so all I could do is keep my foot in it and hold on and duck. So, thank God it came out, on our side, but it was laboring pretty hard, about 700 or 800 foot. So I just kind of ducked and held in there, and thank God we came out on top. So, that's all I could say about that. But yeah, the air was just tremendous out there. And that kind of hurts us with with the limited fuel pump and stuff like that. If we had a 30-gallon pump or something like that, then, you'd really see some good numbers, but we just don't have that. So
I got to ask you, because I don't drive. So to you and Michael, I'm pretty sure driving a nitro car, that's pretty normal. You get to the top end, you start ducking because you never know what's going to happen, right? I'm pretty sure.
You start seeing shit coming like this. Like, can I hold on any longer? Just hold on.
Yeah, that Thursday run, when we blew up and caught on fire, it was crazy because obviously it went boom, and instant your ears ring, and it split the windshield in half, and my boots were on fire, and everything was on fire, and I was trying to get the thing slowed down, and every time I hit the brakes, the thing went sideways because it was there's so much oil under the tires. And Heidi always posts these little pictures, tapes them to the dash, and just about as I got it stopped, I could see something in the corner of my eye floating. I looked up, and it's a little piece of, it's her face on fire inside the cockpit. Good times.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome.
Oh my God!
Oh man,
The things that people don't know that go on, man.
really.
That's what's crazy. All in a short amount of time. You
Exactly.
just running down there 200 miles an hour, going, "What's that right there floating around?" That's killer, man.
So then we move to the final round. Final round at the March Meet Nitro Funny Car, taking on Tim Boychuk, and obviously Tim gets shut off on the starting line. Unfortunately for him, I know you're a competitor, so I know you want to have a race for it, side by side to the finish line. But in the end, you got the win. But for you, I mean, like we said, a fire on Thursday. I remember you said something about you guys even had trouble even probably getting to the race. You didn't have the fastest car all weekend long. What does that say, about your team? The testament to your team that you don't have the fastest car. You have a setback with the fire, but you guys still find a way to win at the end of the day.
Well, I mean, it goes back to, like I said before, being a team. I mean, Bucky and all of them just had a terrible time even getting to the race with all the snow and sleet and ice and everything else. In fact, one time the CHP pulled them over and they had to go in town with the hauler to get changed for Bucky's bus. And it was just, I felt bad for the guys, because I wasn't a part of that. But, just coming back and doing that at the end of the day, I wish we would have got a race with Boychuk, but unfortunately they had problems. And, Bucky gave me the half signal to do a half pass, and I'm like, crap. But I understand it's a lot of money to run those things and stuff. But, from going to hopefully making it to the race to winning the race is just, I can't say enough about my team. Like I said before, I just ride the thing. So, I just try to do the best job that I can. Everybody has a job, and there's no job, small or big. We all have the common goal. You know what I'm saying? So whether you take out of the tires at the starting line or you're making the tune-up calls, we treat everybody the same. You know what I'm saying? They're just as important. Everybody's just as important as the next man. So I think that's where we come together at the end of the day is we just hunker down, man. I mean, there's Heidi's under there, wiping oil and cleaning up my mess. And, my brother kicked in a little bit of help this past race. And it's all great leadership. Bucky's just a good leader. Obviously, he's very, he's got a great business at home and stuff. And I think that portrays it into his racing program too, is just his leadership skills are, that's his calling. He knows where to put people, on what job. He knows how to do it. I just don't ask no questions. I try to do the best job I can as far as driving, and it all works out. So, I
got to ask too, but speaking of Bucky, I walked past the pits a couple of times, and like I said, everything that you guys kind of went through that weekend, he seemed very loose and just very enjoying himself. I was just like, really cool to see.
Yeah, he was actually pretty relaxed for the circumstances. I gotta say, I don't know if it's the age thing or what, but I think he has some sort of calmness now because he has such confidence. We have a couple of new guys on the team. The confidence he has in us now is he knows a job is going to be done right the first time, and he does all the tuning and stuff, but it just works together, man. I don't know how to say it. It's chaos in the pits, but at the end of the day, it's they run like a fine Swiss watch, man. It's a pleasure to see, even when they fire me up to do a burnout and stuff, I just watch everybody work together, and it's just it's really, really cool to watch, kind of from the behind, you know what I'm saying? So hats off to them. I can't thank them enough. And I can't wait for the future, man. I cannot wait for Boise.
Awesome.
I got one more deal here. So little birdie told me that you were sitting in a Top Fuel car not too long ago and that you were really liking it. Like you got in it, sat down, felt around a little bit. So, was you feeling it? You ready to come over here to the dark side now or what?
I don't know, man. It's I grew up driving front engine dragsters. So that's kind of, I love driving the funny car because I always tell people it's a fist fight driving a funny car. I've driven a Nostalgia fuel car, ran 620s, 220 miles an hour, which is pretty fun. But, I would love to test drive one of these days. I think it'd be pretty cool.
And his whole family's got him. I've raced against his uncle in Oklahoma before and stuff like that. So yeah, man. It goes way back. It always comes back to the kings of the sport in the end, right? It always comes back. Everybody wants to get back over here with all of us fun people because you can tell we're having a lot of fun out there.
well, Michael, whose top field car was he sitting in though? You got to let us in though. Whose top field car was it?
Whose was it, Bobby? I made it.
Shawn Van Horn's. What a tattletale. Now I know where my allegiance falls, huh?
So we're sitting on this deal, and I get a message across my phone that says, "Ask Bobby about sitting in my top fuel car."
That's a nice car, man. That's a real nice car. I like the Van Horn family. I like that they do it as a family, just like Horan does, and I appreciate them letting me just sit in it. I was kind of, trying to learn the controls. It just kind of felt at home sitting in a dragster, but we have a lot to prove in the future in the funny cars. So I just can't wait to get back in it. I don't care what I'm in.
So what's next? Is Legends next, right? You go to Pomona, right? Isn't that what Horan was saying?
No, we're not going to be able to make it to Pomona. We got a lot of, obviously, with the part shortage and stuff like that. We're just trying to save our stuff for Boise, and it can't come soon enough. It seems like it's already been a year since I've driven a race car. So I'm trying to work on my car to get that out probably the next 2 or 3 weeks. So just to get back in a car, you know what I'm saying? So we'll see if that happens.
It's those long, drawn out just times, and a month seems like a year whenever you're trying to do this stuff. And then, it's always that whole feeling. Once you get back in the car, you got to get all the shaky jitters out, and then you're good. Once you do that the first burnout, you're all right.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the thing too, is when you do wait, a month or 2 months or 3 months, whatever. I just like it now more from when I started driving for Bucky. Is the class has so much parity now. A lot of times we're not the quickest car out there or the fastest car out there. So just knowing that, where it takes both ends of the racetrack, the starting line and the finish line, to win a race now, is just more exciting for me now.
Absolutely.
Awesome. We got a cool comment right here from Kurt Borden. He says, "God bless you, Bobby, and all the Cottrell family." And I just want to say, I met your dad out at Bakersfield this past, last month, and I think it was your brother, Peter, right? Both great dudes.
Yeah.
Really cool, especially Peter. He's very talented behind the camera as well. So I just want to give a shout out to him. Really cool dude, also. Really cool.
Yeah, like I said in other interviews, I got to thank my parents for getting me into drag racing. I've been broke ever since.
Well, hey, it's kind of like a tattoo. It's got a good story, man. You just got to keep going on with it.
That's for sure.
Well, Bobby, thank you again for your time and coming here on Kings of the Sport. Congratulations on another March Meet win, 5th March Meet win in Nitro Funny Car. You're also a 5-time champion, and best luck to you for the rest of the year, man.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys having me on. I just want to thank everybody for all the continued support, man. We've been to a lot of races and done some good, but all the support, the fans and friends and family and everybody's just given us has just been a second to none, man. And that just shows you what kind of family the drag racing family really is. So we'll try to give them hell in Boise and go from there.
Awesome. The Funny Car Igniter. I got to make it out to Boise. I've never been. Got to make it, though. Probably the Nightfire Nationals will be the next one for me. But thank you, Bobby. Have a great night, man.
All right, guys. You take it easy.
Ladies and gentlemen, your 5-time NHRA Hot Rod Heritage Series Funny Car Champion and 5-time March Meet Champion, Bobby Cottrell, driver of the Bardall. I forgot to ask him. They got Bardall on the car again. It's not Bucky's. You remember last year they put the Bucky's auto center. Now they have Bardall back on it. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, and you know what? I would like to see where all the trophies are at.
Yeah.
Are they at Bobby's house or are they at Bucky's house? Who's got all the trophies?
I feel like Bucky would keep them. I don't know why.
I would feel like that he would keep them too, man. But yeah, but he probably goes over there regularly.
Oh yeah, for sure. We got a comment here from my contact messing up. Imelda Cottrell says, "We've had fun though." And then Shannon Cottrell says, "Us too." So the Cottrell family in the live chat here tonight, really do appreciate that. And Peter Cottrell, he says, "It was awesome meeting you. Great meeting you, Peter, man, and keep up the great work as well." So
yeah. that's a big family. And they're all over the place, racing everywhere. I mean, it's crazy. Yeah, it's cool, though.
Like I said, I met his dad out of Bakersfield. Really cool dude. Like I said, met his brother. Really great family right there. A lot of racers, and all they do is win. All right, so what a great show so far. We got the energy of Dan Horan, calling his shot, talking a little trash. I like it. We got the champion, Bobby Cottrell, and then I think we're going to have some more fun with our next guest in just a little bit. You ready to get him on, Michael?
Yeah, let's do it.
Ladies and gentlemen, Shawn Van Horn is next.
Get your CompetitionPlus.com apparel today. Whether it's our nitro-burning funny car design or the vibrant door slammer design, we have the swag to show you are always in the know. Get yourself a hat too. And we know not everyone enjoys wearing a mask, but if you must wear one, at least wear a good-looking one. Check out the new CompetitionPlusApparel.com for the latest from the place where you have trusted for your news on the internet for over 2 decades.
All right. Hold on. Before we start this interview, I just got to say, I missed the A&W truck on Friday night, and I'm still upset about that. I'm still upset. All right, just got to say it. I missed it.
I got some.
I was in the bungalow typing, trying to get the results out to people on the East Coast and, online, and I missed the A&W truck. So, you can take it over, Michael. I'm gonna just let you got it.
Yeah, but dude, the A&W truck was where it was at. Like, they had them out there. It was awesome. I mean, that was my first time to have it. And I've been there 2 or 3 times. But I was like, I'm going.
You can save me one at least. Just call me. Like, hey, come over. Like,
dude, you don't get to save those things. They're gone. Like, you better get on it like that, because they're just shucking them out. And then whenever it's over, it's over. They just leave.
We've been buying friends with that truck for like, I don't know, 9 years now, it seems like.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Kings of the Sport, your newly licensed front engine top fuel driver, Shawn Van Horn. Shawn, first off, obvious question.
I got my shirt. I can finally wear it.
The shirt just sets it off. Whenever you finally get that license, it's like, we ought to start getting it tattooed on us, is what it is. But I gotta redo the math. We keep adding top fuel drivers, so I gotta make sure we're still good
on there now, huh?
Yeah, that's it.
Like when the Air Force guys get their little wings and they slap them onto your chest, right?
That's it. That's probably about how Shawn felt getting that license. He was working his ass off out there to make that happen. It was fun to watch. Absolutely fun to watch, from the very first run that he made, through the videos, and then being at the March meet to watch him actually finish up and do it. All the dudes were sitting there, talking about, "Ooh, Shawn got it done," blah, blah, blah. So yeah, we're super happy to have him in the group for sure.
And so, Shawn, just kind of talk about that journey, because I know you tried licensing, I think, a few weeks before that, and then you finished your license at the March meet, and I tell you, it was a crazy weekend for you. Just kind of, take us through that journey of finally leading up to getting that license.
So to cross over, you have to have a moderate pass and then 2 full poles less than 690, or 699 maybe. Anyway, so I made my first pass and it ran, I think, like a 920 or something like that, which was a good for a moderate. And then we went up for the second pass, and I've always had a habit of driving to where I look. So I was in the right lane and I'm looking at the Christmas tree. And I go, and I drove straight to the center line. And so we came back, we serviced the car, and Adam Sorokin came over, and he's walking me through like, hey, here's what you got to do. You got to do this, you got to do that. And like, what a great tutor, because he's really a scientist when it comes to how to get the car down the track. Like, he knows every point on that track. He's made so many laps that it's slowed down enough where he can tell you, to the quarter of a second what's going on. And for me, I can tell you to where the 6 seconds it's going on, and then I did it again. I drove straight to that center line again. And when we came back, we had a rod hanging out of the motor. So we had to go home for the weekend. And it was a long drive home. It's only 2 hours, but I was really feeling down because I just didn't think I could do it. I mean, it was so much different than the funny car or the altered. And I hadn't been in a car in like 2.5 years or so. My brother took over and he was doing so good that there was no point in me hopping in it. So Brian Hall calls me up about halfway home, and he just walked me through exactly the same thing he went through, making the same switch over, and really talked me off a cliff. So anyway, fast forward to the March meets 3 weeks later, and I went out and made a good pass. I think it went 620 at 210 or something like that. I don't know. It was a good solid pass. Car was in one piece, and we came back, serviced the car up. So now we're at Q1, and I talked to Blake, and he said that you could either license or you can qualify. So at this point in time, we're thinking, well, shoot, we could put Rick in the car and qualify. Rick's my buddy who's got a license, and we could qualify for the show. And everybody came over and said, no, you license. Mike's saying, just finish it up. So we went out there, and yeah, as you have all seen from the highlight reel, this little hole made that big mess. And I think we ran, I don't remember, 620 or something like that. But I got it done, and there it is. This little hole, it turned it from daytime to nighttime. And I remember going, oh, shoot, what do I do now? Because I can't see anything. And, I was way late, and I went, oh, shoots, we'll try that. And okay, we're slowing down. I hit the fuel shut off, and the motor goes, up on RPMs as it's shutting down. And we're gonna live through. And I open up my visor, expecting to see like a wall or the sand or something. I'm right in the middle of my lane, and I bring it to a stop. And right as I'm stopping, the safety safari's right up there, and just amazing job by the track. They were right there, and you're gonna be okay. We got you. Don't worry. So. Yeah, just I made a mess, but I got it done.
So this is probably one of the most iconic drag racing photos ever. I mean, this is a badass photo right here. I mean, you cannot see anything. Just describe this picture right here. This is crazy.
So have you ever dimmed your headlights with an old piece of crap vehicle, and you dim your headlights from high beams to low beams, except it all goes dark? You got like a short or something. That's exactly how I felt. It just went from daytime to nighttime.
I mean, be honest. You knew the camera was right there, right? You saw it. I mean, the way you're looking at the camera, you're posing for the camera.
Yeah, no, I was looking to see if something left I could see or something right I could see. There was nowhere.
Well, we got the video as well, so let's take a look at that right now. Man.
That's what you saw. It's nothing.
Man.
Poor Kurt. He's I think he's still trying to get the oil out of his camera.
It's and Darren, whenever this happens, I've had it happen to me twice. Not near as what Shawn's happened, but enough that it gets a little bit hairy, and it is an eerie feeling. And if you go back to that picture, the one that you were just showing a while ago, you can still see how fast that car is going. If you look at the back tires, how far they're still up. Those tires aren't relaxed. That car is still hauling the mail right there, and he ain't seeing anything. It's all just driving by a sense of smell at that time. And hats off to Shawn for doing that. I mean, because that's one beautiful car. He's done an outstanding job of making that car look the way that it does. And I know that everybody was like, God, I hope he didn't scratch it.
Well, and then we come out for Q2, and I've got a license, so I get to line up, and I'm next to Pete there in the circuit breaker, my first pass in competition, for license or for trying to qualify for the show, and we did it again. And I still haven't figured out why. I've been kind of busy with the business here since then, so I haven't really dug into it. But yeah, we did it the same thing. But Adam Sorokin had set me up with these cool tear offs and taught me how to attach them, and with a big handle. And as soon as it happened again, I was able to rip away and see exactly what I needed to slow the car down. And that time was actually a little worse. There was some fire too, but
Okay.
We'll figure it out. I don't want to keep doing this. I hate doing it to the fans, and really hate doing it to my motors.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy to watch, and me and Shawn talk pretty regular about stuff, and watching this progression that went on and through, and from him, last year at the Hot Rod Reunion, leaving the Hot Rod Reunion with the Panic Fuel Altered, selling the Panic Fuel Altered like shortly after that, and then just going balls to the wall and getting this fuel car done really in a short amount of time, if you really kind of look at what it takes to get one of these to run competitively. And hats off to him for doing that. And it's super cool to have these guys out there, man. Like, all of us talk all the time, and and he found out, we've had this discussion, just how everybody wants to help everybody out to get going in the right direction.
I've always thought of the Nostalgia Racing as a beer league group, and I know I'm probably overusing that phrase lately because, but everybody from the class has helped me out. Everybody calls me, everybody talks. I never felt that way with funny cars. I felt that the group was too split with the fuel altereds. But with Top Fuel, it's almost like you're just going and racing with your best friends every time. And I can't thank everybody enough, because without all of them helping me out and keeping me going, there's no way we could do this, and no reason to try. I couldn't imagine trying to race against people you don't like.
And so you mentioned that in the camaraderie within the Top Fuel class. I love asking people this question all the time when they get their license, but who signed off on your license? I'm curious to know.
The guy that got me into all this crap, Rick Rogers, he signed off on 3 of them, and then Adam Sorokin the other 3.
Nice. I like it. Especially Adam Sorokin. Not a bad name to sign your license right there. I love it.
He helped me so much, and he really watched all the videos of what I was doing wrong and broke down everything. I think that I probably could have gotten some others to give me some help, but it's good to listen to one guy, and especially one guy who does it as well as he does, and just follow what he says and just try to, instead of trying to do it by committee. He really, really helped me a lot.
Awesome. I love it.
And who else has ever been covered in more oil and fire than Adam Sorokin? I just want to say that.
In that very car, he got his license in that car.
That's right. Yeah. So he knew the car too. There you go, man. So I mean, you just can't go on with it.
More oil, less fire, I think.
What does he always say? We go out there, we race, we blow it up, we put a new one in. That's what we do. Let's go.
Exactly.
I call Adam Sorokin the John Force of Heritage Series racing, because he's been on fire from here to Australia.
Yeah. Guaranteed. And get out smiling, just like, I mean, who makes a T-shirt with the last time he burnt the paint off the car? He makes a T-shirt about it, So yeah, it's super cool, man. But yeah, Shawn, he's going to be a force, man. They'll get that thing straightened out. Coming to Bandimere, right? You're racing with us at Bandimere. So why not just come out, your second race out and go race at 9,000 feet? I don't, because that's really going to help out everything.
At least there won't be enough air to burn it up there.
That's right. So, he's going to come out and race with us there, and then not Bowling Green and then Boise, or not?
Boise. Yep.
Boise. So
Boise
yeah.
And the reunion, the Bakersfield reunion, and that should end up our wallet.
Yeah. I mean, that's a big season right there. Especially going from what in the altered deal it was. The altered was normally the March meet, Boise, and then Hot Rod Reunion, right?
Correct. We went to Bowling Green. That's where I met you a couple of years ago.
Right.
But that was kind of a once in a lifetime trip for us. We'll see what we can do. Like everybody says, it depends upon how you do at the March meet.
That's right. That's right. So yeah, man, that's a big schedule for guys that, that are out here, racing in this deal. Whenever you start talking about, really traveling, because you live 45 minutes, hour, what was it? 2 hours, 2 hours from the town.
Hour and 45 from Bakersfield.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's pretty damn convenient. Then you say, hey, man, why don't you come on over here 16 hours and come race with them? People start going, I don't know about all that. So, but no, we're excited to have him at the Extreme, Top Fuel race up there, Bandamere, man. It's, I know we should have 3 or 4 West Coast dudes, and he's going to be one of them.
Well, we're really only going so that we can tour the Coors facility. That was kind of how I got my crew all there. And then we'll go ahead and hit that race while we're at it.
That's right. And you got to make sure your brakes work good, because to get down in the staging lanes, it's its own wild ass ride at that track for sure.
Oh, I thought you meant on my old toter home.
Yeah, that too. That getting up to it.
I'm not worried about getting there. I'm worried about getting home with that thing.
That's it. That's it. So yeah, man, exciting.
So Shawn, tell us this little story we heard from Bobby of him jumping inside your Top Fuel car. We need to know the behind the scenes of this. How did this all progress? Tell us what happened. Fill us in.
So we were licensing first or second weekend of February, and we were pitted across from the Cottrell compound. He builds and maintains, I don't know, 40 cars, it seems like. He's just jumping around and helping all these different people. And in the evening, he and Heidi came over, and actually my little dog Frank ran over and Heidi brought him back, and we spent a couple hours and just had a great time talking with him. And he asked if he could hop in it. And so then, of course, no pictures, because he didn't want Bucky to see him in a Top Fuel car and all that. So
I love it.
They're saying there's pictures out there. So, I mean, we got to see these pictures.
I don't think there's anything of Bobby sitting in it. We would have tried.
I think what we need to do is go ahead and do like one of those deals where we superimpose his face in the car, and then we'll put it out there. Maybe like one of the bubblehead looking, bam, stick him in there. It just calls 9 kinds of hell for him. I mean, that's what we do. And then it just draws people over.
But I don't know if we really want Bucky coming over and, shitting in our picnic either.
That's right.
He can really tear some stuff up in our group.
He might feel kind of competitive once we done got his ass fired from the funny car. Well, I got to see I fist bumped Kamaka Pocock over there at the race. I didn't get to talk with him that much. He was kind of busy and stuff, but I did get to see him. So, hey, man, what's up? I'm sorry I didn't get to talk to you that much. We were kind of busy fixing bearing problems on my end. But anyways, it was cool seeing that dude.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, ran good at the March meet as well. Got new crew chief Mark Lee over there. That California Hustler team, they're gonna be a player, and I think they will be at Pomona next weekend. So look forward to seeing Kamaka out at the Winter Nationals next weekend. That'll be a lot of fun.
I got to sign off on 3 of Kamaka's funny car passes.
Nice.
Don Nelson had me come over and help him out getting. He decided that if he gets a driver, the driver has to have a job, and so Kamaka learned the clutch, and I got to teach him how to do the clutch. And then between Dan Horan and I, we're just kind of there to answer his questions. But that kid's a natural. I've never seen anybody hop in a car and take it down the track like he did. Very, very impressed.
Love it. I want to ask you, Shawn, we're talking funny cars here today. We're talking fuel altered. We're talking Top Fuel. For you, I asked Dan this about winning races and championships in a Top Fuel car and funny car. But for you as a driver, to have driven a fuel altered, a front engine Top Fuel car, a funny car, how much pride do you take in that as being, solidifying yourself as a driver, saying, hey, I've driven 3 of these badass nitro cars?
None. It's not like anybody's knocking on my door to drive their cars. Everything that I've got, I had to build myself, It's all about just racing with my dad and my brother and my wife, and then the friends that we brought along. Everybody on the team we knew before we started racing. And it's the driver does 6 seconds of 1,000 hours of the work. I think there's way too much emphasis put on who's driving the car and whatnot. It's all about who's working on that thing. The guy that, like Bobby said, the guy who's changing or letting the air out of the tires is just as important as the guy that's running the valves or the guy that's mixing the fuel. It takes everybody to get the car down the track. The driver is just the spark plug. He's just the ninth plug in there.
Love it.
Yeah, it definitely takes a lot of people. It's pretty damn amazing, really, all in all. Because like I said, me and James were laughing about going and running that little red alcohol car, and it'd just be me and him. And he goes, well, how many times do I got to ask you if we're going to put fuel in, or do I need to check the tires? I was like, well, we're going to have a lot of time now. So, yeah, hats off to the crews. Hats off to the crews that go and take time off and get out there and make it happen.
Finding people to come and waste their vacation time to get you down the track. It's an amazing thing. And it's really, and all you do is put their name on the side of the car. And for us, we don't even get them a hotel room. We just find them a spot in the transporter, in the trailer to sleep and get them in, feed them. That's all they get. And I can't say how much I appreciate those guys.
Yeah, definitely the crew of nitro cars and in drag racing, period. The crew is really the unsung heroes of this sport, and they're the one who makes this thing run. So, any final things, Michael, for Shawn Van Horn?
Oh man, just excited for him. I do while we have him on there in deal. Let's talk a little bit about what you do for our group within Titan Speed Engineering. Talk a little bit about your business, because he is an intricate part in a lot of our cars in the parts that he makes. So I feel like this would be a kind of a great time to talk about Titan.
So Titan is behind me. It's 300 square feet of the side of my shop, and we produce billet oil pumps for all kinds of sportsman racers. Really no pro cars. I think the last pro car to run a Titan pump would have been Shawn Langdon in Top Fuel.
Oh.
And that was probably about 8 or 10 years ago. And now, most of my customers are just weekend racers that need something a little bit better than a stock pump, but really don't need quite the dry sump system. And I'm glad to help them out. Spend a lot of time on the phone talking with people and their problems and advising them on what to do. And actually, a lot of times I end up not selling them a pump because I don't think they're really needed, or just, help them through whatever problem they got.
We're going to come up with the a Titan commercial for the show. Give some shout outs to the Titan here on the show sometime. We got to do that. We got to come up with that. I can do the voiceover, just, tell me what you want me to say, and I can, just let me do it.
How much for the banner on top of it? Like Ricky Bobby's. how much
don't sell him short. Yeah, don't sell him short. He makes a hell of a good oil pump over there, and his wife's in there ripping it out with the CNC machine. So he makes a damn good product, that can be purchased too. And you just made a deal too with Alki Digger, right?
Alki Digger, yeah. Oh, Shawn over there. Yeah, they're going to be the exclusive retailer of Titan oil pumps.
Okay.
And I'm looking forward to going back to Nashville and meeting him. He's kind of like Michael here. He's always at like 112%.
Yeah, but he's like 77 now. It's crazy. I mean, like. Yeah. I was literally like his customer number 6 ever. Like customer number 6. I bought a shotgun injection hat from him, and me and him have been buddies ever since. Yeah. Great group, man. I'm glad to hear all that's going on. But yeah, Darren, we definitely need it. And Titan's is one of our contingency sponsors too. So within the group, so yeah, we need to show them a little love up there with some ticker tape deal. We'll make something happen. He's got a pretty fancy looking car. He's gonna have to wipe all the oil and shit off of it. But yeah, we'll be all right.
Yeah, I need to team up with Simple Green. I think is really
And then at the bottom of the ticker, you see this little ticker at the bottom of the show. I could put, sponsored by Titan. I mean, that'd be pretty cool, right?
That's it. Well, cool, man. Absolutely. No,
I like it.
Super happy for Shawn and his race group. Great group of guys. Dad's cool. A&W, man. The funny car had a killer paint job on it. You know, they put out some pictures of that, and then the new car's killer. So yeah, you know, I'm just I'm rooting for him to get out there and kick some ass.
Yeah.
You know, that funny car actually showed up last week for sale. And it was kind of a like, oh man, you know, that guy spent a lot of money and had a whole lot of high hopes, and then just it fizzled away. So
Darren needs to get it. Darren, you need a funny car. You like them damn funny cars? Go get you in one of them funny cars.
I do like
a funny car. No,
I'll get a funny car. As you can see, I do like funny cars. As you can see, there, you know, I got them all in the back. But I love me some Top Fuel too. Top Fuel Eliminator. I can't get enough. I can't get enough. I love nitro in general. Anything nitro, just give it to me. So, well, Shawn, man, thank you. Well, first off, congratulations. You know, newly licensed and a friend in Top Fuel, and you know, thank you for taking your time out to come on the show. And best of luck to you for the rest of the year, man. And you know, good luck on this Top Fuel deal. It's really cool to see. Really cool to see, man.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Awesome. Take care, Shawn. Catch you on the next one.
See you later.
Later, bud.
Oh, Shawn Van Horn. And getting a lot of love in the comments as well. I love everybody, you know, showing their support of Shawn Van Horn. Really cool to see, man. Really cool.
Yeah, no, it's you know, it's just a good group out there, and it's not like they're super new to the deal. You know, that group's been around, like you said, within the funny car and the fuel alter deal. So you know, it's always exciting to watch what happens. You know, I think we were a trailer or two apart from each other, kind of going back and forth, and you know, I'd sneak over there and kind of watch and you know see what was happening on. They were making it happen, boy. You know, whenever you're in a time crunch and you want to get something done in one of these cars, and nothing ever goes as planned, ever. Not ever. I don't care. Towing the damn car up there, there'll be something that's out of whack, you know. And you know, the group was really behind them about, hey man, get in there and you know just keep going and get your license, because you know we want you to be racing. And you know, it was cool to watch them actually make that happen.
Yeah, for sure. And I gotta say, so usually the way we do this show, we have 2 guests, but today we had 3 guests. And when we have 2 guests, we usually have about an hour and 45-minute show. Well, we had 3 guests, we're about an hour and 45 minutes. So we're doing good on time, I would say, for this show. We're doing good.
Yeah, for 2 dudes, it always like we're going to try to get this done in 45 minutes to an hour. It ain't ever happening. Maybe we just need to just say we're an hour and 45 and it is what it is.
But I mean, overall, what a great show, though. And a shout out to everybody who's tuning in. I mean, to everybody in the live chat, everybody viewing, just thank you. You know, if you haven't already yet, you know, I got to do the house cleaning. Make sure to like this show and share this show and say, hey, you know, we talked to some great dudes. I mean, Shawn Van Horn, what a great personality. Newly licensed Top Fuel driver. Dan Horan has been out here for such a long time, has won championships in Top Fuel, Funny Car, has integrated himself with Dale Pody, Ron Tobler, just legends of the sport. And then Bobby Cottrell, I mean, one of the baddest funny car drivers out there, 5 world championships, 5 March Meet wins. I mean, just such great guests. And I mean, you know, I love the big show, but we have so many great personalities in this side of the town, in this side of the sport also, like with all the names I just added. So, I mean, a lot more to come on the show. So we're just getting started, man. And we got a lot more people to interview.
Yeah, so you know, figure kind of talking about going into the Vandermeer deal. You know, we'll probably some of these guys from the Midwest, we need to get them on, because we do definitely got some characters that are over there in that deal. You know, Sean Bowen, he's a killer. And just get these dudes in there and introduce them to everybody. There's a lot of great cars out there, and guys that just want to talk about their little part of it and what's going on. So I think, from at least here till May, we ought to have a lot of guests to have on the show and new people to talk to.
You know what show I really want to do? So there's this, so obviously Funny Car Chaos is this weekend, right? But then there's this thing called Nitro Chaos that's about a month away.
Yeah.
And our Great Expectations 3, Tyler Hilton is going to be racing in that with the Hemi. And
yeah,
I want to get Tyler on before that. Should do like a kind of a Nitro Chaos Kings of the Sport kind of joint show. I want to do that, and then bring on. There's a guy out there called Joseph Gallegos. He drives Outlaw Top Fuel Jackson. Yep, get him on.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, because I need to get him on the show and put him on the spot about he needs to come race his full track racing, no more half track racing. Yeah, no, great dude. We've had a lot of good discussions. Killer car that he's got going out there, and I know what they're doing. I just like give. I think he's 22 maybe 22 years old, 23 years old. So, it's cool to have them dudes that age, man. But it's a family, another family deal. They had the Nitro Clown funny car too that they were running there. So we need to get him on there. And I mean, there's definitely some other folks that that run even in that Nitro Chaos that's going to be going on that we could definitely talk with.
Okay, I know I should know this as a journalist. Who drives the Foolish Flyer in Nitro Chaos?
I forget what that fella's name is. John Lorbecky. John Lorbecky.
John Lorbecky. Okay.
John Lorbecky is an F-35 fighter pilot.
Really?
Yes.
I did not know that. Wow.
Yes, sir. That's what I'm saying, man. Like, it's he's an F-35 fighter pilot. So, you'll talk with him and then he'll just be gone. I don't know what he's doing. I bet nobody knows what he's doing, but yeah, he's so not only are you a top fuel driver, but you also fly the baddest jet in the world. So there you go.
So a front engine top fuel car is basically like nothing to him. Basically, it's like, he's actually done some interviews and talked about that the front motor car in the first, get up and go probably, 8th mile is rolling with that jet. But, after that, you're doing what, Mach 4. I don't think we got anything on that. Let's get him on the show. Let's just get him on the show. Let's talk about it. Let's get him on the show.
Yeah, he's a great dude. He's Dell Sir. He tunes on that car, and they got a good a good group over there. So yeah, that's it. That's cool. John and his dad are good people. Yeah, they're super cool. So a lot of times his dad answers for him on his Facebook page because he's gone off, chasing the bad guys, I guess.
Well, we got to do that. So soon, like, in a couple weeks before Nitro Chaos, we got to do like a joint, kind of hype up that deal, Nitro Chaos, Kings of the Sport, and, get some of those personalities on the show as well. Do that. That'll be pretty cool.
And then, the Time Bandit car, he runs a dump truck motor, Huey. Yeah. And then his driver played football, middle linebacker for Michigan, maybe. I think it was. Yeah, he talks about that a little bit. Big old dude, man. I'm like, I don't even know how you get in the car. Like, dude, like he looks like a damn linebacker. But yeah, that's another really cool guy. Jason Greenwood. Tim Cullinan. I mean, you got some. Gary Wheeler. Yeah, Gary Wheeler. Gary Wheeler is a one-person show. I'm going to tell you that right now. Like, we can't have any other guest. We're just going to have Gary Wheeler on there. And maybe we could probably bring John Brook on because he owns, Grand Prix, auto parts over there. They sell a bunch of cool stuff out of Tulsa. So, yeah, definitely. I mean, there's a whole mess of folks out there. We got to get Jimmy Young on here, too. I don't know how we're going to do it. We're going to have to get him on here to talk about what's going on. And then we got to get Kevin Rowe and Sporty Vandermeer before the race. So, yeah.
That sounds good. Yeah.
Maybe we can get all three of them on there. We'll get Jimmy and Sporty on there, and then us and just kind of talk about what's going to go on.
Sounds good. Let's do it. Well, everybody, thank you for tuning in to episode 8. Were you going to say something else before we get out of here, Michael? Want to say something?
No, I'm good, man. I'm running out of stuff.
Thank you for tuning in to episode 8 of the Kings of the Sport podcast. Just like I said, do a little house cleaning before we get out of here. So tomorrow, 5:00 p.m. Pacific time, 8:00 Eastern time, I'll be hosting Between the Slicks. Our guest is Lau Greenberg. He is the reigning champion of the Funny Car Classic from last season, and he won the March Meeting Nitro Pro Comp last year. So we're going to talk to him. He's going to try to defend his title out the Funny Car Classic. I'll be hosting that show tomorrow night. And then Sunday, if you guys would like, on Competition Plus at 6 p.m. Pacific time, 9:00 Eastern time, we're going to recap the final NHRA Arizona Nationals from Wild Horse Pass Motorsports Park. Myself and a couple of my friends, we're going to be breaking all that down. So if you guys like to come in and tune in and talk about the race, we'll be there. So like I said, thank you guys all for tuning in tonight. We'll see you guys in 2 weeks. Good night, everybody.
Later, bud. See y'all.